Martin, I know looking at some of the holding company acquisitions of data companies, you've had a definite point of view on some of those. And, Publicis has had one recently, IPG, and then I think you've been...
You want me to grade them?
No, I've seen you grade them. And you gave Merkle at Dentsu
I gave Merkle an A.
Yeah.
I gave Axiom a B, and I gave Epsilon a C.
Okay. And why...
A being a good grade and C being a bad grade. Just so we get that clear. And then you've got WPP going in totally the opposite direction, which is getting rid of the data assets, and they have some first-party data assets. I mean, Christian Jewell, who's really excellent, one of the best managers I've ever come across in terms of agencies, but since he took over Group M, I don't think he quite understands what he's got. You've got inside Xaxis, and you've got inside KBM, which is part of Wonderman, very significant first-party data assets. And he said he can rent the assets, which is a sort of attitude that John Renner has at Omnicom. And right or wrong, I'm not saying owning is necessarily better than renting, but you've got to understand what you've got. And WPP actually had, through Kantar and elsewhere, very strong first-party data assets. I put Kantar World Panel in that and the Kantar media assets. So if you look at them, they're all going in, well, they're not all. 3 of them are going in one direction, one's going in the other direction. My own view is that first-party data is really important. The problem that we have, we're a small company. We've gone from 0 to $600 million a market cap in a year. We'll see where we go in the second year. But it really is more difficult for us. These assets are priced highly. They're often early-stage assets, Series B, Series C, VC assets. So they tend to have maybe revenue. Well, some of them don't have revenue, but some have revenue and revenue growth, but they don't have EBITDA margin yet, and are not prepared at this early stage in their development to focus on that. It's quite difficult. So one of the things we're doing, and Emily Del Greco is here also, who runs Mighty Hive in the Americas. And one of the things we're doing is concentrating on data analytics as well. So you'll see Mighty Hive build its data analytics capability, which in a sense is part of the first-party data assets to build. But if I could find, and there are 1 or 2 things about, they're very highly priced. If I could find very good first-party data assets, I would do it. The other thing to say is this: a lot of clients, say particularly in the financial services area, have massive first-party data assets, which because the companies have grown by acquisition, or because you've had internal technology departments or CTOs or CIOs who've had different systems, the systems don't talk to one another. And their ability to exploit, if that's the right word, the first-party data assets is extremely limited because the cost of doing so, they have to take massive write-offs to redevelop and re-platform them. So there is a lot of data there, but often it doesn't get you. And part of the problem also is that these companies focus on the short term. Somebody said something about the long term. Controlled companies and private companies, private family companies, so a company like Mars or Chanel, can take a much longer view in terms of the trouble with being an uncontrolled listed company is average life of a CEO is 5 years, 6 years. So they tend to take a short-term view, and that's I think the real problem. Coming back to what Lou's over-intellectualizing piece was, where I do agree with him is that people just don't take the long-term view, and that's the real cancer that affects companies.